All right, welcome to round 13 of Grand Prix Providence, brought to you by TJ Collectibles. That's tjcollect.com. We're about to rush Tom Raney right here, and he's playing against a very happy and ecstatic Dan Jordan. I think he likes getting deck checked. Yeah, I got deck check smile. So in the booth, Rashad Miller, Ray Punzelot, and special guest, Pat Chapin. Do you like Pat or Pat?
Patrick. I
Patrick.
appreciate it.
Patrick, I'm sorry, Patrick Chapin. I usually just type Pat because I don't like typing long word names.
Those extra letters.
I'm just lazy.
Way too many.
Pretty lazy. I'm saving my voice. You see, I'm losing my voice.
No, absolutely,
so
dude.
Every syllable counts. Why syllable have so many syllables?
It's like onomatopoeia. You know, it's to give you some insight into the meaning. All right. So we have the best possible Merfolk opening, Island Ether Vial.
That's a pretty good open. Is there a mental misstep in the frame?
He wouldn't be tanking on a mental misstep. This is definitely Force of Will or not.
I guess not. Whoa.
Doesn't want to get dazed. A daze on his Force of Will right here would be brutal.
True.
And Allure is able to get through.
Now that is a Texas pro.
Get through an early vial too.
Pay 2 life, draw a card, and peek. So why wouldn't he to Texas
Pay the
pro
mana?
to see if he
It's a
could,
sorcery.
if there was?
It's a
Oh yeah,
sorcery.
it's a sorcery.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
sorcery.
It is not just peak. It does have a cost. Now it's interesting that he didn't pay the mana. Like, does this mean there's a Cabal Therapy? Oh, there is.
Ooh.
This is already looking really bad. I see
We got
Recruiter.
comboed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he already had the Jataxian Probe Cabal Therapy combo in his hand, he might have figured that he might not even want to counter the Vial, because if he gets off quick therapy...
Just take whatever creature is
Exactly. Save the Force of Will to force through the combo. Because he's already got the Recruiter. All he needs to do is find the Allurin, and then he wins on the spot.
And actually looking at Dan's hand, it isn't very interactive. There was just a Curse Catcher, which isn't as interactive as it could be against this combo.
Yep.
It's basically just, can I race you with these creatures I have in my hand, -1 from the one that's going to get taken away right now.
Oh man, I draw really good.
Probably the Lord.
Oh, for sure. Because the Curse Catcher doesn't even interact with the combo that well, you know? And it doesn't put much of a clock down. And the Allurin deck can incidentally produce some blockers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like Imperial Recruiter will block a Curse Catcher, whereas Lord of Atlantis could make things potentially awkward with Island Walk.
Hey look, he hit.
Yeah, and
Oh, he went for Curse Catcher?
wow. He must really need to cast one of the library manipulation spells in his hand.
Maybe he's banking on repealing the Aether Vial? Is that his plan?
Nah, see, I don't know, maybe, but that doesn't even seem very effective.
Ooh, Force a Will on the
Lord.
Atlantis.
Oh, and he wanted to take the Curse Catcher because he knew he was going to force the will the Lord of Atlantis. And
so
so he doesn't want the Vial to Vial in the Curse Catcher.
Right, and now there's just no creatures left. for
Stone
Dan.
nothing.
Like
He's
Dan.
got all the time in
Yeah.
the world. Does
So-
he have any mana, though? Looks like that might be all, like, is that Limdol's Vault in his hand? Or is that Cavern Harpy? Is it
Oh, was it Coiling Oracle?
a Coiling Oracle? Okay. Oh, he's got Brainstorm, too? This is looking
Yeah.
really bad for Dan. With absolutely no pressure, and Tom just, at this point, all Tom needs to assemble, basically all Tom needs to assemble, I mean, he needs to find a Learn and 2 more mana, but with Brainstorm and a Coiling Oracle, he's going to race to the 4 mana very easily, and he's going to have a lot of looks to try to find a tutor for the Learn or the Learn itself.
Right, so he breaks the fetch, but before the brainstorm? Did he know? He didn't know what cards were on the top of his deck, so...
Well, it depends. If he, are we sure that's a Coiling Oracle, not Limdol's Vault? Because if this is Limdol's Vault, he's going to cast it here for sure.
What was a
Coiling Oracle.
Oh, this was still his main phase. Okay, then that makes sense. Okay.
You did it with such confidence, like you knew it was coming.
Just blind hit the land. Nice life.
I mean, it's either hit the land or draw a card.
Yeah, I just mean all he needs, like what he needs right now is just a little bit of mana. All right, so Dan, in order to get back in this, I mean, Dan needs to just go spell. You know, Dan needs to start drawing, because he needs to start putting a real clock on here.
Well, he has another Lord of Atlantis in his hand, so he can vow that into play and attack with Mutavault to put on some pressure.
Yeah. So, I mean, as it stands, Dan's looking at maybe a 4-turn clock. And he's going to have it be better than that. He's going to have to draw like either Force of Will to slow Tom down or just another Lord to speed it up a little bit because Tom is not very far away.
I wonder if Tom has Academy Rector in his deck to Imperial Recruiter for.
Some of the Aloran people do that, but I would think that by now he would have a different mix of land in play. Because he's already got 4 land in play, and none of them produce white.
Yeah, he didn't really get a chance to pick those lands. So.
Right, but what I mean is that he's playing all 4 of the different colors. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he's playing all 5 colors, but I would be surprised if he has Academy Rector. It's pretty good, but it's always the first thing to get cut for mana.
So I was thinking about, I think he wants to play that Recruiter, but doesn't want to use the fetch land before the Brainstorm.
Yeah, see, I agree with him here. I think you really want to, he just wants to find a Learn. I think you just want to Brainstorm,
Fetch
shuffle
land, Brainstorm.
Right. Be interesting to see what bullets he has in his deck. One of the nice things about the Aloran deck against the Merfolk matchup is that he gets to sideboard in Luan.
What if it's not already in there?
Yeah, I would be surprised if he's got a main deck, but if he sideboards, I mean, just even a single Luan, you can find it with the Imperial Recruiter.
Yeah.
Which is so devastating to the... and then with Cavern Harpy, you can potentially bounce it back so that you can just... I mean, because sometimes Aether Vial fights through Luan.
Mm-hmm. So activate the Vial, brings in a Helm Commander.
That helps a little bit because...
This clock is getting significantly shorter.
Right, like next turn he's going to be hitting. I mean, that's just about the best possible draw he could have right here. Now, next turn he's really going to want to hit another Lord. Or a Force of Will if he has a blue card, but... or a land. This is definitely... It's definitely going to be kind of tough for...
But no, he can attack... Well, he attacks for 10. But with 1 blocker. Another Lord would be game, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tom at this point just needs to find a Learn in the next 2 turns. That Coral Helm Commander was definitely the best possible increase to the clock.
Oh no, this would have been an attack for lethal because both of those Merfolk have Island Walk. So this is going to be a lethal attack. Mutavault plus Comb Hill Commander gets through.
Now the Lord of Atlantis isn't in Merfolk. Island Walk.
Right, but the Mutavault does.
Right.
So the Mutavault will be a 4/4. And oh no, he just dazed, so he doesn't have to land any. Oh, he plays a land, levels up the Calm Helm Commander, so that's a 5/5, and the Mutavault becomes a 4/4, so that's 9 Island Walk.
It may have just cost him that he repealed on end step instead of waiting to untap. Remarkable.
He's got 2 Brainstorms to get himself out of this.
Yeah, but what is he hoping to draw? Island Walk is a tough one. He really didn't. It is really really remarkable how fast Dan was able to turn this around. A single 0-mana counterspell can go an awful long way when you have all these Plague Rats in play.
Tom's trying to figure this one out. Brainstorm. He's literally brainstorming. That wasn't a joke. I don't make jokes like that. No. I was being so serious. Now I'm offended. But it's okay.
So now is that a Learn in his hand?
Thought that it was a Curin Ranger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Cavern Harpy. Cavern Harpy and Imperial Recruiter. So he can Recruiter for a wall. The wall doesn't work.
Well,
Something that flies. If he has
well, he's got the Cavern Harpy in his hand. He's gonna block with the Cavern Harpy.
Island Walk.
Island Walk.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So is his plan to Cavern Harpy the Coiling Oracle? That's not gonna flip up anything. I mean, he's not playing Maze of it.
Hey, on a brighter note, that Coiling Oracle also has Island Walk. It was a 2, and it's a 3/3.
Hmm. Oh, he forgot to attack first.
There's a Force of Will. I wonder what was he...
So I think his out at this point is to hope that Dan doesn't see the play. And he does. A remarkable comeback from Dan Jordan.
Attack with my unblockable, guys. Like, yep, and Dan Jordan takes game 1.
Wow.
It's like, yep, doesn't matter. And if you're wondering how that game turned around so fast, so if you need to blame someone for that, I'd blame Kibler. And GamingEtc.com thinks you should too. You should visit GamingEtc.com, pick up all your Blame Kibler apparel and binders, and pick up all your cards too. And if you use the code GG's Live, you can save 10% on your entire purchase. Did you want to blame Kibler on Facebook?
You can do that.
You can do that. All you have to do is visit tinyurl.com/blame Kibler. And then it'll redirect to Facebook.com/$! A bunch of numbers, and then you can.
I can verify. I know Kibler pretty well. He's definitely to blame.
Yeah, it's definitely his fault.
How's the trades going?
I look around the hall here. There's a lot of people wearing Blame Kibler shirts.
Now, didn't these bust on the scene like a little over a year ago or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like this weekend it's a lot, like it's kind of made a resurgence.
I think they got a fresh shipment of shirts.
Oh, they might have just sold out at the last.
Yeah, I mean, everybody watching GG's Live.
And everybody wants to blame Kibler.
Just say yes.
What was the story last year about somebody's car getting broken into? And whoever it was that broke into the car and stole their stuff
Put a break.
left a blame Kibler shirt in the back. Kibler was telling us about this. It's simultaneous. I mean, it's obviously horrible.
It's horrible
But,
and awesome at the
I
same
mean-
time. You can call it awesome. You can call this tragedy awesome because it is. Not the tragedy part, but the creativity of the person who did it. He's a genius. Not as ingenious as
I had
you.
something so sweet ready that happened.
Okay, maybe.
That was
Wait,
actually amazing.
was it you? Did you leave the shirt in the car?
No.
Okay. Was it Ray?
Probably. I know. Someone else broke in the car and I brought
Well,
the shirt.
honestly, at the time, the theory was, first of all, obviously we need to blame Kibler, but he probably did it just to increase his own PR. I mean, that was like, you know what I mean? Get the legend circulating, you know?
like this rumor isn't busty enough. We need to give it some more gumption.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I mean, that's why I put
They have everything going on this weekend. The PTQ trial going on for Pittsburgh already. Of course, the Grand Prix we're watching here.
If they'll publish any articles I read.
So if you're Dan Jordan, you probably don't have specific cards for this matchup. How do you sideboard
Well,
with your...
the first thing is he's definitely going to be on his anti-Lawan plan. Every Merfolk player has an anti-Lawan plan, and Dismember is probably the most likely.
Right.
He's definitely going to bring that in the dark. There's the possibility that he could get some value out of it just by killing a wall of roots or something, or randomly getting rid, or maybe disrupting the combos somehow. Like if he has to pitch a Dreamstalker, it could kill a Manowar, something like that. But the Dismember is going to be key because he knows the Alern player is going to have a Lawan. Other than that, there's not really a lot else that he's going to have.
So if you're a Lauren, is your plan all in on a Lawan? You just put your Lawan in and
Well, you're still gonna try to set up the combo too. But between now I don't know if he has Limb Duel's Vault or Intuition, which of those, but between Imperial Recruiter and then all the different ways to find Lawan or Imperial Recruiter, he's probably going to try to use Force of Will and Cabal Therapy and whatever disruption he has to force through the turn 4 Lawan, or just force through the combo if he just naturally gets it, Like he's got a lot of different avenues. This is definitely, but the tough thing about it though is that that's not super fast. I mean, we saw that last game Dan won despite having a poor draw. That wasn't. I mean, it has Ethervile. Ethervile was good, but it didn't. He was a little mana flooded at the beginning,
And his poor draw got disrupted with the early Cabal thing.
Right, he had nothing on the second turn.
Looks like Tom's going down to 6.
Now, personally, I think last game the mistake may have been that Tom therapied the Curse Catcher and then Force of Will the Lord of Atlantis. If he would have therapied the Lord of Atlantis and just let him keep the Curse Catcher, he could then just block the Curse Catcher with the Imperial Recruiter or Coiling Oracle, and he'd still have the Force of Will and a blue card in his hand.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that he could have just saved that for a much more important threat, because he effectively Force of Willed the Curse Catcher the way he did it,
Yeah.
So I think it was just a little greedy. The prospect of leaving Dan with nothing was so tempting, but then Dan just went hit in a row, and Tom got punished for it.
Let's see if Tom can get a more pleasant looking hand with the 6.
Now, Alern actually mulligan's pretty reasonable. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't-
you only need a 2-card combo.
Right.
You know, a lot of the time it's like you're mulliganing anyway if you get stuck drawing the bad cards, quote unquote.
The cards that are just for comboing.
Right, right. So basically,
Well, it looks like he's keeping. And there's the Texas board. 8th of out?
there's 2 Ether Vials and
Yeah.
a Coral Home Commander.
Yep. I think there's also a Cabal Therapy. At least
If he has the Cabal Therapy, it's not actually clear that he gets rid of the Vial. He might get rid of the Coral Home Commander. Because the Alern deck isn't looking to play a control game.
Dan's gonna make him get rid of the vials. So.
The temptation of the Vials is too great.
Actually, those double wastelands that Dan Jordan has, they could cause some problems because Lord
Oh,
is full
absolutely.
of non-basics.
Yeah, that does make the Vial a much more dangerous threat. Because if the Vials are both ticking up and you're getting wasted,
Yeah. And it also forced Tom to get a basic land instead of a dual land in order to play his Coil and Oracle turn 2.
well, he's not going to be able to play the Coiling Oracle.
Right, because he saw
Yeah.
the wastelands. I'm pretty sure he would have got an Underground Sea or something.
Yep, for sure. Now, the Alern deck does have enough basics to operate, but Tom's was really counting on that Coiling Oracle for his mana. He needs to draw another fetch land real soon to be able to get anywhere. So he's got the full combo to stand now.
Yes, all he needs.
He needs
is
to
land.
assemble 2 more land before he dies or gets disrupted.
Beautiful attacks for 2. That's going to bring Tom down to 16. There's a 3rd land. So basic. Forest Island. Play your Coil and Oracle and hope
Now, if he just gets a single basic land,
yeah.
and not even a basic, just a fetch, he's 1 land away. Definitely one of the strengths of these Alern decks is they've got so many fetches and the right mix of basics that they can be pretty resilient against the wasteland strategy.
So what do we get? We get a Brainstorm.
You could do a lot worse than a brainstorm. Force of Will.
Yeah, that Force of Will is going to cost some.
Now, does he have a blue card though?
I don't think he does. But one more land and he has 5 mana. So this is Tom's free turn right here.
And it looks like he's going to have to brainstorm.
I think he drew a Coil and Oracle.
So I think it's just too. I mean, it's kind of greedy to Coiling Oracle here. You've got to find that land.
And actually, you could set up. You could get a situation where you could set up Brainstorm into the right land, Coil and Oracle, like Brainstorm to 2 land.
Exactly.
One would be in the
Get
forest.
one to be the blue.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But he just
Plays the Coiling Oracle anyway.
looks
It
like
does
he got
hold
a
off the
probe, right?
Mutavault.
Did he get a Jataxis probe off of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decides to do it now. See if he can hit the land.
Yeah, we'll just hit. I believe in him. I think that's what's going to happen.
The fact that he can hold off the Mutavault is kind of definitely increases the value of the Coiling Oracle.
Gets another Coil and Oracle. And we know he loves his Coil and Oracle, so is that what we're going to see next turn? More Oracling?
I think it really depends on Dan's next turn, because the second Coiling Oracle had more value than the third would, just because it blocks the Mutavault. But if Dan plays a Lord here, you know, like a Regerie or something. Interesting play.
Double blocking a Mutavault. I guess the only other play was...
Now he doesn't even have Force of Will held
Well,
up.
he drew a blue card.
Maybe he just didn't want to hold up Force of Will. Because
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It's like...
He wants
it would have been just obvious. 5 land up, not attacking with my Mutavault.
Well, then, I mean, I guess he's never going to get through the Coiling Oracle. I just figure maybe he wants to wait until he gets a Lord, but Dan is definitely a much more experienced
Lord
Merfolk player.
doesn't- Well, Lord doesn't help because it'd have to be a
Lord of Atlantis.
Well, Lord of Atlantis would pump the Coil and Oracle. It's a Merfolk.
Right, but it would give the immutable Island Walk.
It sure would. I forgot about Island Walk.
Yes.
It was so long ago that was.
And
was
also,
relevant.
the Lord of Atlantis is the only one that pumps the other side. The Regerie pumps only your only guy.
Right.
All right, well, that's definitely the 4th land, but it's just going to eat a wasteland. That's for sure.
Well, he also has a fetch land.
Yeah, this is definitely.
And a brainstorm, so he could set up some defense with this brainstorm.
Yeah, what he's got to do is he's got to access another. No, he doesn't have any Cabal Therapies in his graveyard, does he?
He has one. He didn't flash it back, right? The one that took the Aether Vials?
And what took the Coral Helm Commander?
Oh, he flashed it back then.
Did he second
Oh,
another?
no. He cast the second one.
So he has 2 in his graveyard, right?
Yeah, he has 2 in his graveyard.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be. This is definitely going to be tough for Dan because at a moment's notice he's going to have those blue cards stripped from his hand.
So 2 levels on the commander, the wasteland on the green source, and a pass of the turn.
I think we're going to see Tom go off this turn. He's going to sack the Coiling Oracle to the Cabal Therapy, naming Force of Will, drop the Allurn, and that's all she wrote.
It's like, oh, targeted me? Sure.
And the problem is he knows Dan's hands, so that even if Dan, right? Exactly, because even if Dan mess-stepped it, you know.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Here we go, and there's Allurn. So, hey, why don't you explain how the Allurn combo works for everybody out there? Does everyone?
So the first thing that he's doing, he's playing Imperial Recruiter for free. It lets him go get as many more Imperial Recruiters as he wants. He's going to search out all the Imperial Recruiters, and then he's going to search out a Dreamstalker or a Manowar type creature, which he's going to use to then bounce the Imperial Recruiter again. And then he's going to search up a Cavern Harpy, which he's going to use to bounce the Dreamstalker with the Recruiter. To once again, then he's going to go find a card to actually kill his opponent or gain infinite life. Depends on how he wants to finish the game, but he's just going to find one more thing. Like in this case, a Coiling Oracle. Now every life he pays from Cavern Harpy, he can bounce. And then in this case, once he has the Parasitic Strix, he's dealing 2 each time and gaining 2 each time. And so he just pays 1 life to make his opponent lose 2 and him gain 2.
I like how you explained that in the exact time that they did it.
It was
like,
pretty impressive.
It was like you were actually...
I feel like Tom was trying to race you and you were catching up still.
Yeah, he was like listening to what you were saying and just doing it as you were saying it.
And Dan's got to make him go through it because the last thing you want is for Tom to get away with sideboarding out some combo pieces or something.
Yeah, right. And for those of you who don't know exactly what Allurn does, it allows any player to cast a creature spell whose converted mana cost is 3 or less
at instant
speed
for free. And with a card like Imperial Recruiter, which lets you go get any other creature you want with a power of 2 or less, you very quickly are able to assemble this combo, you know? All those cards we just saw are the bad cards,
yeah.
You know? And the reason for using Dreamstalker types instead of just Manowars is that you can actually beat Swords to Plowshares if you use Dreamstalker because it doesn't target the same way Manowar does.
Right. And it may seem like there's a lot of extra steps in there, you know,
right?
Getting extra creatures that you really don't need, but it just gives the combo more resilience.
Absolutely, because sometimes your opponent has a sequence of, I mean, obviously in that situation he knew Dan had nothing, but sometimes your opponent's going to have a bunch of strange disruption interaction cards, and you're just going to end up with 4 1/1s, 2 2/2s, one that flies, a 0/4, and a 1/1, you know, and 1/2.
Yeah, you don't win that.
No, sometimes that's like 10 power.
I mean, yeah, sometimes
I've seen some Allurn people race a Progenitus with just like lots of dudes.
I've also seen the Allurn dude lose to a Goblins guy.
Yeah.
Like in response to you going off, Mature, and then get some other guys, and then cycle some Gempalm Incinerators and do.
Right, you got to be careful.
Stuff.
There's a few different decks that sometimes can just surprise you with, you know, they just drop some permanents down on the table. Like for instance, if somebody just puts an Ethersworn Canonist into play, you're like, oh.
So I'm done.
I guess I'm done.
I guess that's all I can do.
Can't you just respond to it and then?
Well, no, you respond to the Cavern Harpy.
Oh,
the Cavern Harpy's stuck on the stack.
Yeah.
You have no way to, you know. And the Cavern Harpy comes into play, but then that's it. The turn ends, you know. It's definitely the Merfolk deck is not going to gain as much after sideboarding as a lot of people would like against a Lurin. You know, he doesn't have as many of the bullets, but his theory is that he's going to be good game one anyway. You've got that island walking, you've got a pretty fast clock, you've got a fair number of 0-mana counterspells. I mean, Dan's probably playing the full 12, right? Like, or at least 11 of like
11.
dazes, mental missteps, and force wills.
Yeah, and the basic strategies of these decks: combo versus
Aggro control.
Yeah, aggro control. Aggro control is supposed to win this. So, in that respect, Dan has an advantage, and it is an advantage because you put a clock down,
And
sometimes an unblockable clock, and just a little bit of disruption goes a long way.
The one big X factor in this is that Luan. If
Yeah.
Tom, and we don't know for sure. Like if we haven't seen the list, we don't know for sure that Tom has it. But Tom is a seasoned player,
Yeah, there has
and
to be
Merfolk is one of the most popular decks in the format. I have to imagine he's using the one slot for the Luan.
I'd say that'd be
That ace just is going to make that ace is just, I think, potentially turns the tides. Although this is definitely a matchup where being on the play is huge.
Yeah, especially when you get to go turn 1 8th of Vial.
Turn one vial, that's as good as it gets.
I don't think Tom Raney's playing a mental misstep. Have we seen
Yeah,
a
I don't
mental
think he
misstep?
is either, and I'd be surprised. The Orange decks are going to have trouble fitting it because they're already playing. I mean, they have all these dead cards, so
Yeah.
they're a little bit limited in how much disruption they can play, and they really want to play both Force of Wills and Cabal Therapies. And then once you have your Taxing Probe and Brainstorm making your deck smaller, you start running out of space.
Silvergill Adept, revealing, I believe it was a Lord that he revealed.
Yep.
Tommy's the second fetch land. Let's see what technically 2-drop.
It's always
options he has.
it's always a little bit of a chess match figuring out if it's safe to get the basics or not. I mean the non-basics, you know.
Yeah.
Like you want the dual lands because it makes your mana just work so much easier. But a single wasteland from a Merfolk deck, especially when they have a vial, can put you so far behind. Yeah, it looks like this is a pretty good mix of things. I mean, he's got multiple different types of lords in his hand, and the vial's gonna. So it looks like he's playing it safe.
Yep, second at 8th of Vial.
Yeah.
He's going to try to cast as few spells as possible and just win on the back of 8th of Vials. This attack is going to be for 4. Let's see if Tom has any responses.
And he's got another Mutavault in play, so he's going to be putting the clock is going to speed up even more. Tom committing to the basic land plan.
2 mana. Do we have an instant? Oh, we got Cavern Harpy.
That's not going to be played as an instant yet.
Oh, go for the throat.
Now, this type of spot removal, it's actually not that surprising because the Merfolk deck, each of their creatures increases the strength of all the other creatures geometrically, so even a single removal spell can slow them down significantly. You know?
Now, it looks like Dan Jordan has Luan in his deck.
Yeah, often these blue decks, because it's a legend,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the best way to fight Luan is to proactively play your own Luan.
Right.
Plus, if you put Luan down,
They can't cast
Tom,
Luan.
you can't, well, and he can't cast Cavern Harpy.
Right. Can't cast, well, yep, can't cast
Yeah,
Cavern
can't cast
Harpy.
Cavern Harpy.
Can't cast
Mana War,
Dreamstalker. Can't
any of
cast
that.
Mana War.
Right.
Can't cast Colon Oracle.
Which is a big part of the reason why you need cards like Doomblade or Go for the Throat. You
Right.
need to make sure that you can get out of the Luan, you know? The only reason why it ends up being more significant for Tom is because he has so many ways to access it. However, if Dan has it in his hand, yeah, this is definitely,
He's definitely coming down 2 turns from now.
yeah, and the Rejury's coming down next turn. It's going to be really tough. One of those vials can tick all the way up to 4.
And right now, Tom's looking at a hand that doesn't have any land.
Oh, is he stuck with that land again?
Yeah, he's going to
He
break.
absolutely needs to find 2 land right here.
Found a Bayou. He really needs a fetch land just to get the perfect land for his.
Well, and he's got a fetch land in there, right?
I
A
didn't-
Bayou and a fetch land?
Is
Looks
there
like
a
a
fetch land?
Bayou and a Verdant Catacombs?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he really needs to shuffle away some of this action.
Yeah, and he really needs a Taiga, and not just a Bayou. I think he.
Because he wants to cast that Recruiter to find Luan.
Yeah,
No, he doesn't have an Alluring yet, right?
I didn't see a Lauren.
Yeah, because if he doesn't have Alluring, then he might just have to be on the... It's going to be tough, though, because, I mean, next turn is his free turn. So he's not going to have time to cast the Recruiter.
Yeah, I guess that does suck.
He's going to have to shuffle away with Verdant Catacombs. Now, he could Recruiter anyway. He's going to have to Recruiter for something if he doesn't, draw into another way to progress his game plan. But He's on a 2-turn clock as it is. You know, like that Regery's coming down next turn. A Mutavault, a Lord of Atlantis, a Silvergill Adept, with the Regery coming down.
That's 4, 8, 11. And Tom Raney's only at 13.
Now, it's tough to tell without seeing, is that a Doomblade in it? Another Go for the Throat?
He does
have another Go for the Throat.
Go for the throat.
So this is going to be an interesting decision point. Is he going to use the Go for the Throat now on the Lord of Atlantis just to slow the attack? Or is he going to save it for the Lawan and try to lock him out? I don't know if he has time to save it. He might just have to go for the... Yeah, looks like he might just have to go for the throat of the... Goes for the Mutavault. Ah, slowing
Ooh,
down.
so slow. Well, it doesn't really slow down the Lawan because.
Well, it does if he gives him the out of repeal.
Yes.
The other nice thing about hitting the Mutavault is that if he's on the Lawan plan, he can bounce all the Merfolk. He can't bounce the Mutavaults.
Picked up the Coilin Oracle.
Yeah, but that's the one he put back. He played Bayou instead of a fetch land, so he didn't shuffle.
Yeah.
Does he not have a Learn? I mean, he must have...
Maybe he has a Lauren.
If he has a Learn... Imperial Recruiter isn't fast enough.
He must already have a Lauren.
No, I mean, he's got to tap 3.
Recruit. Oh, Fire
Fire
Spout.
Spout.
We didn't see that one.
Well, that makes killing the Mutavault even more... Wow.
His plan was brilliant.
Tom Raney, ladies and gentlemen.
Dan Jordan's like, wow, is this really being played against me?
Yeah,
So he. Oh,
Fire Spells, I mean, that's a nice one. That's definitely traditionally a very powerful weapon against Merfolk decks.
Yep. And we're assuming where he's using the red mana after going.
Yeah, I'm imagining that's it.
And
Oh my god, and
Oh,
the
wow.
perfect follow-up.
Now the perfect.
No
follow-up
wonder he
one.
didn't shuffle.
So now all he has to do is peel a Lauren, and then everyone will be happy.
Now he's got, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's on a low life total. And with those Ether Vials, it's kind of scary. You don't know how, you know, like at any point, Dan's going to just threaten to throw down a creature, and then if he draws another Lord, you could die really fast.
Tom has a repeal in his hand, so maybe.
Okay, he's got a little bit of time.
to reset one of those.
And he still has the Recruiter. So he just needs to find a Lauren.
Dreamstalker to 1/5 for return a creature.
Yeah. Now the Dreamstalker, it's kind of cute, can power up the Coiling Oracle, keep drawing more cards. Everything Tom's doing right now is just looking for that Allurn. Would settle for Lawan, but looking for that Allurn at this point. Now you wouldn't even settle for a Lawan. The Vials, there's no reason, you know.
There's a Wall of Blossom, so
Yeah,
just
just
keep
more.
cycling the
Everything's just
creatures.
gonna keep cycling. Just got to keep finding Allurn. Good info to have.
Very good
Vegetaxian
info.
Probe, very, 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 very low opportunity cost. Very nice upside.
So plays Wall Roots, draws a card, gets a Brainstorm, lays.
And keep drawing. That's the thing about these Allurn decks. Everything just keeps digging.
Somebody's going beat.
Coiling
down.
Oracle getting into the red zone. Highly relevant. A highly relevant attack. Putting a clock on Dan.
Blue card or no? What do you think? Oh,
Ooh.
Wasteland, just as deadly.
Well, now he's 2 green away. Might be better. Yeah, because
Yeah.
with the Cabal Therapy is always... Cabal Therapy is just so effective against Force of Will. Can't win that fight with the Force of Will, you know.
So do
This
we
is the
think-
plan.
Are we on the beatdown plan now?
Dreamstalker is going to come down. Maybe not, because he can't recast either of those creatures.
Well, you bounce the Wall of Roots because.
Right, and just hope to draw the green.
Yeah, just keep the beatdown going.
The Wall of Blossoms, it's not doing anything on the table. And you got Dreamstalker to hold down the fort.
Has a repeal for the first blocker. Get that guy out of there. Ooh, he just keeps drawing Brainstorm.
That's the thing. I mean, what can he draw that isn't, you know, at this point? Like once you get to this point, the deck has so much dig. Dan really needs to hurry up and get a clock down because I mean, Tom is a couple turns away from doing anything.
I mean, attack it for 2 is doing something.
I mean, that's loosely true.
Tom's on a beat down, man. He's going beat down. These brainstorms are just for show, just to find some more beat down creatures.
Allurn is much like Cephaloid Breakfast in that it is home of some of the most mediocre beats of the format, you know? Like the Cephaloid Illusionist Nomad Encore deck, like once Cephaloid Illusionist is just getting into the red zone, or even better when he's blocking, here's the Cephaloid Illusionist block a Tarmogoyf, because when he uses his ability, sometimes you gotta play tactical, you know?
No, it's like Dredge games 2 and 3 when you're like, well, I guess I gotta attack you with my stinkweed imp.
My stinkweed imp, my Golgari Thug gets in there.
I've won games like that. It's actually awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's times like that you feel not as, you know, like you're playing Dredge, those moments redeem you, you know? Like you have to earn those.
Oh, looks like we have a
in
hand.
Yeah, but but he's still 2 green mana away, and the commander is a very, very fast clock. Now he does have that repeal still, right?
He does still have repeal.
He does still have the repeal, but he needs to find 2 green mana. If he has the Allure now, he's still 2 pieces away. Those Wastelands were definitely Dan's best plays.
Tom's at 5 life, so that Ancient Tomb that's an Ancient Tomb, correct?
No, it's a swamp, right?
Is that a swamp?
Yeah, it's a swamp.
Oh, it's a swamp.
Yeah. He's got the brainstorm, trying to figure out how greedy to be. Because if he brainstorms and misses, he's in bad.
Then he knows there's 3 turns of him missing.
Yeah, he decides not to risk it. Conservative play.
Another recruiter.
Yeah, it does nothing. Now it does give him the backup. If he finds just a single mana, he can fetch up a red mana.
Right.
And try to go get the Luan just to make sure he doesn't die.
He didn't find.
Wow. Does he have just stone nothing?
It's pretty close to nothing.
He has a block.
So the parasitic Strix can block, and he doesn't have a blue a black creature, right? He doesn't have his.
He doesn't get any value from it.
It is a chump blocker, and because he's still at 5, he can live through 1 hit from the commander. God, missing on Brainstorm there was brutal. Brainstorm is definitely a cruel, cruel mistress.
Oh, he doesn't really have any other options.
I mean,
he's gonna run that.
You gotta play the parasitic. Like it's come to this. Like, no time to be proud.
Can he?
Oh, he's got the probe. He's gonna dig a little bit more.
He
I guess
goes
because
down to 3. He paid a mana.
Yeah, because all he's gonna do is block with the Strix next turn anyway.
Right.
He's giving up on the beatdown plan.
Now, if the Strix is in the graveyard, can he still win? Can Tom still win?
Yeah, they usually play 1 Eternal Witness. He might have sideboarded it out, but they usually play 1 Eternal Witness. And there's a number of different things. He might end up just in the beatdown, like he might just end up stabilizing with a Cavern Harpy, a lot of different creatures in play. You know, have every creature in his deck in play, and a Luan, you know.
All right, attack for 2. So the score is going to be 1-14. And here is Parasitic Strix. So now the top card of Tom's library is a brand new card.
It is a brand new card.
Brand new card.
Could be Go for the Throat. It could be Repeal. I mean, at 1 life, he can't even get a fetch land at this point. It could be Luan.
It's a fetch land. I can't believe you jinxed him. I can't believe.
Wow.
All right, congratulations,
Dan Jordan. Talk about just totally unshaken. Absolutely nothing with the Allurn player having all the time in the world. Just the confidence, you know? Like he just, knows his deck, knows what he's capable of. He's gonna have to get lucky and draw some cards to get out.